Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. I am JT, aka the Master, and this is For No Reason Fantasy Football. I got a great show in store for you today, people. This is the first full weekend of the season, and I want to get you one of these. One of these. It's a championship trophy. It's a very nice trophy, okay? But in order to do that, the first thing I need to do is to get you into the playoffs. Get into the playoffs, anything can happen. And let me just premise this, and I've always said this, you heard me say it every single week in the last month. I ain't perfect. Never claim to be perfect. But I can give you some high percentage plays, starts, sits, and sleepers. Okay? And I'm going to try to give you, I know it's the first week. And I know, how are you going to give me sleepers when you haven't seen anybody play? Well, I'm going to try to do that for you. Okay? I'm going to try to do that for you. I'm going to do the best I can with that. Okay? There's no guarantees, never a guarantee in fantasy football. I've always said this. It's some skill and a lot of luck. And that's the bottom line. It's a game. Just like baseball, soccer, women's and men's basketball, college football, it's a game. It's just the bounce of the football, whether it goes for you or against you. That's the bottom line. Okay? And I'm going to try to give you some information to help you get through this week and hopefully get a win. Hopefully get a win. That's what I'm looking for you to do. To start the season off right, 1-0. Okay? Not 0-1, 1-0. So let's do this. The first thing I'm going to do is say this. Been doing this a long time. Been doing it a long time. And like I said, I've got some things wrong, and I've got a whole lot more right. And I'm banging my drum for myself. Yes, okay. I dwell on the positive, not the negative. I dwell on the majority of things I get right and not on the negative of the minor things that I get wrong. Okay? So with that being said, the first week of fantasy football, there are some question marks. And if you looked at my show last week, which is not fine, maybe you did. I went with my last weekend of doing positions in fantasy rankings. And as always, the last Sunday in August, I do the running backs. And I gave you some running backs lower than most people have them. Ashton Genty, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane. Just to name three. Okay? And one of those guys, and I talked about it last week, one of those guys was an injury risk. Okay? And that's why I had him a little lower than most, because he was an injury risk. Okay? And lo and behold, he's hurt. Now, there's a possibility that he played, but people have drafted him high in the first round and have drafted him or in the second round, which is fine. But I said last week, he's an injury risk. He's waiting to happen, and he's already gotten injured. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you this, okay? I'm going to show you this. And it's in no particular order. The positions are in no particular order. There's running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends and quarterbacks in this that are must start. They're must start. And I'm going to display them for you. And then we're going to go from there. Okay. Not a scroll. Like I said, it must start. Jamar Chase, B. John Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jameer Gibbs, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., Drake London, Puka Nakua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry, CMC. If he starts, okay, he's a must start. If he starts, now I don't know how to tell you this. I've been saying this for the last 2 seasons. Last season, I told someone, do not draft Christian McCaffrey. And quite naturally, anybody who plays fantasy football knows what happened. And I said, this season, be careful. Be careful with CMC. And lo and behold, he gets hurt. He's hurt. Now, like I said, supposedly he's supposed to play, but how long and what kind of effectiveness is he going to have? That's too much of a gamble for me. In the first week, you're going to put him in there? That's fine. Everybody's got their tolerance of risk. Okay? I ain't got no problem with that. You put him in there, you put him in there. What happens, happens. Okay? But Kyle Shanahan, and I'm telling you, Kyle Shanahan runs through running backs like water. Runs through running backs like water. So understand that. One running back after another. He don't care. So if Christian McCaffrey doesn't go, then does it become a committee? Does Brian Robinson Jr. and Isaac Guerrero make up a committee? I think so. Now, some people like Brian Robinson Jr., but he's not in my opinion, he's not a complete back. And talk about Isaac Guerrero. I like Isaac Guerrero, but he's not a complete back either. He's got issues getting hurt. Okay? So if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, then I think it's a committee. I think it's a committee. The other back, Jordan James, is hurt. So there must be something in the water that these running backs will keep getting hurt. And all I can say is buyer beware and player beware of putting CMC in there. I ain't got no problem. You want to put him in it? No problem. High risk, high reward. No problem. Okay. And then I got, who else do I have here? Let's see, take this away. And I got, the quarterbacks. Lamar, Josh, Bo, Joe Burrow, Baker, and Jaden Daniels. Yep. Look who they're going against. I think the toughest matchup out of all those quarterbacks is Jaden Daniels going against the Giants. I think that's the toughest matchup. It may not be, but in some people's opinion, but in my opinion, the toughest matchup. I can't say that. I got to say this. I think Josh and Jaden are going against two stellar defenses. Okay, one has a offense to complement that defense, which is the Baltimore Ravens. The other is the New York Giants. Jaden Daniels going to get against that with a questionable Giant offense. Okay, but what I want to do is go down. Excuse me. What I want to do is go down the list. And this may not be an hour show, but it's going to be a little bit. Because I want to go to each game and talk about the game itself and give you a quick analysis, in my opinion, of what the game is about and who I think you should play in it. The first game, people, is the Las Vegas Raiders going to visit the New England Patriots. Geno Smith, the quarterback, highly touted Ashton Jeanty is the running back, and the highly touted Brock Bowers is the tight end. You play Brock Bowers. New England is not that good. They have a good defense with a defensive-minded coach. Their defense is going to be stout. Okay. But you play Brock Bowers because New England is not that strong against the tight end, defending against the tight end fantasy points. Ashton Genty, 5'9", 200 plus. Temper your expectations. I know Pete Carroll, M.O., is running the football. And that's what he wants to do with Ashton Genty. That's why they drafted him so high. He wants to be a physical, run-based offense. Now he's got a chance to make a big impression against the Patriots' run defense. They don't have any big names in the Patriots defense, but a collective defense, a collective good defense is what the New England Patriots is. And they're playing in New England. Okay. Temper your expectations for Ashton Genty in his first game against a good defense playing at home. You start him because you're probably drafting him either in the first round or early second. So you want to play Ashton Genty. I understand that. No problem. But I understand what my opinion is. Temper your expectations. He's playing on the road against a good defense in the home opener. Okay? Temper your expectations. You play Brock Bowers, without a doubt. Drake May is going to be looking for Brock Bowers. I mean, not Drake May. Geno Smith is going to be looking for Drake May. Geno Smith is going to be looking for Brock Bowers. Okay? And we have the type of offense that Tony Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, is going to be looking for Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was a standout tight end, record-breaking tight end last season. You think if he does that in the first year, you think he's going to drop off that much? Really? Geno likes throwing to the tight end. Got no problem throwing to the tight end. Move the chains, get the team going down the field. Okay. But understand, I don't expect the Raiders to make a big leap. I know there's Raiders fans out there. I don't expect the Raiders to make a big leap. Better quarterback, probably a better coach with a better mindset and a better offensive and defensive scheme. But they're going against the New England Patriots, who have a high expectations of what they're going to be with a new coach, and a coach coming home to his old team he used to play for, with high expectations. Defensive minded coach, tough, disciplined coach, instilled that in his team. You play Drake May. I'm not saying he's a must start, but if you drafted Drake May in the fantasy draft, you play Drake May. He's got some weapons. You play the rookie, Travion Henderson. The Raiders aren't a stout run defense. You got a two-headed monster back there. Ramondre Stevenson, who's on thin ice, got issues fumbling the football. And you got Travion Henderson, who the first time he touched the ball in preseason took it to the house. Showed off what he could do. Took it to the house. You think that first impression is the best impression? You think that didn't put, oh, look what we have here. Oh, look who we have here in Travion Henderson. Okay? So he's going to get some run. How much? I'd give him about 60 yards, maybe 50 yards in catching the football too. They're going to involve him this is the ideal PPR running back. Can catch the ball out of the backfield and a home run hitter at that, running the football. He can do it all. And believe me, the New England Patriots are going to use this guy. I got a couple sleepers here. One in particular is Mr. Boot, Boutte. Okay, Keyshawn Boot. Okay, I gotta believe that he's going to surprise people in this game. And I know the name. I know the name is Stephon Diggs. Okay. I don't think this is Stephon Diggs' game. I think this is going to be some young bucks, and one of them is Keyshawn Boot. It's going to surprise some people. And the favorite target of a young quarterback is who? If you listen to my program, you know what I'm talking about. It's the tight end, Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is going to be targeted early and often. I do believe that. See, most teams, and this is ironic. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. A lot of teams that have an outstanding tight end, for some reason, don't defend the tight end position that well. So the Raiders have an outstanding tight end. And I think the weakness of the Raiders, one of them, is defending against the tight end. And who's the tight end that Drake May likes to throw to? Hunter Henry. Just remember that, people. Just remember that. Okay, let's move on to the next game. This is a game of musical quarterbacks. Let me put it that way. Musical quarterbacks. The quarterback that used to quarterback the Jets is with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The quarterback who used to quarterback the Pittsburgh Steelers is now with the Jets. Really? Yes, really. Okay. Now, I still like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't like him in this game. Okay. I know. Because when I go down the list of players, Pittsburgh's a run first offense. Arthur Smith is the coordinator. He's a run first offensive coordinator. Run first. Very conservative offensive player. Offensive play caller. Okay. Jalen Warren was named the starting running back. Okay. I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. DK Metcalf is going up against Sauce Gardner. I don't know. I know some people who have DK Metcalf expect big things. Not in this game. Not in this game. Okay. I think this is a tight end game. I know. He's saying, come on, they got two tight ends. Which one's the more athletic? Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers does like dumping it off to the tight end. He wants to get the ball down the field, but if he can't do that because Sauce Gardner is on DK Metcalf, what's he going to do? Who else do they have? Roman Wilson? Calvin Austin? They're jitterbugs. Really? Jitterbugs. Next best option would be either the running back or the tight end. That's it. Running back or the tight end. Let's move on to the Jets. Now, we got Justin Fields, who's a running quarterback, which is fine. More like he's going to get about 40, 50 yards rushing, which is fine. Throwing the football, throwing to Garrett Wilson. They have a pass rush in Pittsburgh. Am I right about that? They have a pass rush in Pittsburgh. Okay? TJ Watt is just not going to let a company, or just not going to let Justin Fields run wild and pass the football down the field. You think they don't know? You think each one of these defenses don't know their opposite quarterback? Okay? I expect this to be not a high-flying game, not a bunch of points scored in there. Tell you the truth. Breece Hall, I have Breece Hall in one league, or I think 2 leagues, whatever. Doesn't make a difference. My opinion of Breece Hall is he's going to struggle. I think he struggles in this game. They even have Braylon Allen, and a big hype about Braylon Allen. Well, not in this game. Not in this game. Pittsburgh going to try to shut down that run and tell Justin Fields, if you want to win this game, you're going to have to do it. That's it. You're going to have to do it. And I'm just going to put this tidbit in here, okay? And it's not because I'm on tight ends, but the son of Jason Taylor is on this team. Mason Taylor, tight end. They only have Garrett Wilson to throw to. You think they're not going to be throwing to the tight end? Justin Fields, how did Justin Fields throw to the tight end when he was with Chicago or when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying. Don't discount Mason Taylor. Don't be surprised if you see decent targets not being able to get the ball down the field with Garrett Wilson to Mason Taylor. Just saying. Okay? Let's move on to the next game. Let me see. Let me get here. Tampa Bay. Oh, this. I don't know how to control myself because I can't wait to see this game. I cannot wait to see this game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Division game. There's a few division games in here, and this is one of them. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Baker Mayfield, Michael Penix Jr. Oh, baby. You play Baker Mayfield. You see it in the list I showed you. You saw it in the list that I showed you. Okay? And I say this. I didn't like Baker Mayfield in the beginning of his career. He bounced around from team to team. I got hated for it because I didn't like Baker in the way he was either acting or playing. Which is fine. I got big shoulders. I can take it. But he's found a home. He's finally found his niche and a team that can help him play the best he can play at the quarterback position. That's all. I ain't got no hate for him. Never had any hate for him. I call it like I see it. Okay? Never had any hate for Baker Mayfield. I just didn't like the way he was playing and his attitude. And it took him to get to Tampa Bay. Well, Liam Cohn, who's now the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, to get him straight, get his mind straight, get his playing straight. And he's one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy and in the NFL. You play Baker, Bucky, Mike Evans, and yes, Emeka Ibuka. You know why? There's no Chris Godwin. There's no Jalen McMillan. They're either on the IR or trying to get themselves straight, been healthy in order to play. Okay? You play them. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. This offense is going to cook. It cook. This is a division rival. So they're going to try to get the best out of all their players to beat the Atlanta Falcons. And let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix Jr. is a stud. And right out the gate, he's going to have to prove himself. Right out the gate. Kirk Cousins is still sitting on that roster. Looking over the shoulder of Michael Penix Jr. He better play well. He better show up. Raheem may have a short hook. He better show up. If he's not doing the right thing. But he should. I already told you about Bijan. I don't have to tell you about that. I showed you the list that Bijan the must start. I told you Drake London is a must start. Look at the numbers from last season. I'm not going to tout the numbers. Look at the numbers from last season. You got to do your research, some research on your own. I can't do everything for you. Look at the numbers when Michael Penix took over late in the season with Bijan and Drake. This offense is going to cook. They should be able to cook. And I always say this, and I'll say it again, barring injury. You know, everybody has their players that they want, okay? And they draft them, okay? But if a player gets hurt, I don't care if it's the beginning of the season, middle of the season, or end of the season, and he doesn't finish the season healthy and giving you the consistent fantasy points that you are expecting, he's a bust. He's a bust. Plain and simple. You drafted that player, wherever you drafted him, to give you some type of whatever points that you expect from him. And he doesn't do that, or he gets hurt in the process of trying to do that, he's a bust. Plain and simple. People may disagree. People may agree. Fine. In my opinion, if he doesn't do what you expect him to do or others expect him to do, he's a bust. Plain and simple. You want your players to be able to play from the start to the finish. And everywhere in between. If they don't do that, it's a bust for them. Because you don't draft players to play half the season or 1 quarter or 3 quarters of the season. You want them to be the whole season. Okay? So that, what I'm saying is, and the sleeper, and I'm learning. I'm not learning, but I'm saying this: tight end position. Tight end position. Kyle Pitts. Michael Penix likes to throw to big targets. Big targets. Kyle Pitts. This may be his year. Kyle Pitts this may be his year. Drake London is a big target. And then he has Kyle Pitts also, who is a big target. 6'6", 6'5", middle of the field. Kyle Pitts. All right, let's move on to the next matchup. Now, I had said this before, and I'll say it again. Tua Tagovailoa. For those who didn't catch my quarterback show, Tua Tagovailoa has the easiest schedule, or one of the quarterbacks who has the easiest schedule in fantasy football. Some people don't like Tua. That's fine. I give the numbers out there. Numbers don't lie. According to the numbers, Tua Tagovailoa strength of schedule is one of the easiest in fantasy football. And they're visiting the Indianapolis Colts, who they're all right. They don't have a stellar defense. They're okay. Okay. And as far as I know, they have their full complement of wide receivers. I'm not a fan of Devin Achane. I know people like him a lot. 5'8", 195, maybe 200 pounds. Let me say this, people. You ever heard of Darius Geis? Darius Geis was a highly touted running back out of, I do believe, LSU. Highly touted. Has some character issues, but that's beside the point. highly touted. He was 5'8" and maybe around 200 pounds. 5'8". And I said this about Darius Geis, and I'll say it about running backs that are under 5'10". They have a big man's mentality and a small. They have a big running back mentality and a small running back physique. And that's not a good combination. When you think you're a big back and you're not, and you try to put yourself in there as a big back and you're not, your body only can sustain so much. And at 5'8", 5'9", not a fan. That's why he's always hurt. Now he's supposed to be playing today. Okay. Not a fan. Just understand this. His backup is Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright's hurt. Ollie Gordon. You got a spot on your bench, and you need a running back that may take over if Devon Achane or eventually he's going to get hurt. Eventually gets hurt. Ollie Gordon. Okay. Let's talk about the wide receivers. Oh, man. Tyreek Hill. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of dysfunction in the Miami Dolphins. A lot of dysfunction in the Miami Dolphins. Are they going to be able to overcome it? You're playing in ideal conditions inside Indianapolis. Tyreek Hill healthy? If he's healthy, Tua will get the ball to him. There was talk for the most part of offseason that Jalen Waddle was gathering a great rapport with Tua. Don't be surprised. And I would play Jaden Waddle. Quite naturally, Tyreek, you got to play him. I would play Jaden Waddle without hesitation. If he's not on anybody's roster, he should be. If he's not on anybody's flex position, he should be. He should be. I think Jalen Waddle is going to surprise some people. Let's move on to the other side. And Daniel Jones. Ooh. That sends a chill down my spine. Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was drafted 6th in the year he was drafted. Anthony Richardson, I think, was drafted 4. Something like that. Neither one of them are put together. And Daniel Jones' best attribute is running. Anthony Richardson' best attribute is running. He can't hit the side of a barn. And talk is that he may want out of Indianapolis. His agent talked to the hierarchy in Indianapolis, and I think expressed this unhappiness of Anthony Richardson. Hey, I'm not surprised if that is an absolute okay. See ya. You play Jonathan Taylor. They're going to want to run the football. They're going to run the football. Miami's defense ain't all that. They're going to run the football. Jonathan Taylor, got to play him. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Tyler Warren. All those cast of characters you got to play in some form or another, regardless of where you have them on your team or if you have them on your team, they should be played. Daniel Jones likes throwing to the tight end. Best friend of a young quarterback to move the chains, tight end position. Okay? Let's move on. I don't give wins and losses. That's not what I do. You get that from another show, but I don't do that. That's just me. I don't do that. I give players. Okay? Let's go to this one. This is sneaky here. This is sneaky. Arizona Cardinals at the New Orleans Saints. As I said before, I have high expectations for the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. Okay? I call it like I see it, people. Plain and simple. I have high expectations for these Arizona Cardinals. You play this going against the New Orleans Saints. Okay, this is a home opener, and the New Orleans Saints are one of those teams that supposedly aren't able to score many points. Okay? First and foremost, without a doubt, Arizona in the draft drafted defensive players to shore up their defense. And what are they going up against? One of the weakest offenses in the NFL. Play Arizona's defense. Without a doubt, play Arizona defense. Sneaky. That's going to be a sneaky defense. Trust me, people. That's going to be a sneaky defense. Kyler Murray, you got to play him. This is not a really stout, not bad, but it's not a stout defense of the New Orleans Saints. Play James Conner. If you have James Conner, you better pick up Trey Benson, okay? There's not too many seasons James Conner goes without getting hurt. Last season was an anomaly. I won a championship with James Conner. I won a championship. I'm a running back guy, and the majority of the best players on my championship team were wide receivers. I was mixing and matching running backs other than James Conner. Play James Conner. I expect him to do well against the New Orleans Saints in here. Trey Benson, you need to if James Conner gets hurt, Trey Benson is going to be the star. Okay? I still believe in Marvin Harrison Jr. Not that much because I didn't like him too much when he came out. It was highly touted, but I had question marks about him. Didn't know, but he's bulked up, and supposedly they've been working on report. Him and Kyler have been working on being able to play better together. And there's no, I'm not on a tight end and kick this week, but I'm seeing tight ends, and they're more relevant in the offense. And Trey McBride is definitely one of those that Tyler Murray likes throwing to. So I got 4 players for Arizona: Kyle Murray, James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Yes, sir. Let's look on the other side of the on the opposite sideline. Look at Spencer Rattler. Not. Look at Jawan Johnson. Not. Rashid Shaheed. Not. Chris Olave. Well, he's the number 1 wide receiver. He's the number 1 wide receiver. So I expected him to get targeted early and often. I expect him to get targeted early and often. Okay. And then Alvin Kamara, the jack of all trades. I expect him to get targeted also. Short passes. You got a second-year quarterback that won the quarterback job basically by default. Okay. Because they really didn't have anybody. And I'm telling you, they're going to go after somebody in the next few weeks. They're going to go after a quarterback in the next few weeks. Because and they can't sustain their offense with the quarterbacks, plural, quarterbacks that they have. They need somebody that's precipitously better. Okay. But Spencer Rattler is the game 1 starter right now. and they're going to be dumping it off to Alvin Kamara because he's one of their best players, even though he's around 29, 30 years old. He's one of their better players, the most productive player. Chris Olave can't stay healthy. Yeah, and I said this before. If you're not healthy, you're a bust. Really? You're not healthy. I hate to say it like that, but if you're not healthy, if your ability is availability. If you're not available, then you're a bust. Okay. Let's move on to one of the interesting games in here. You got the New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. Home opener for the Washington Commanders. Russell Wilson. I don't like any of these guys. I like Malik Neighbors. Not a big Russell Wilson. I don't think this is the type of game that I don't think it's a big Russell Wilson game. I think Malik Neighbors is the type that you want. Devin Singletary, Cam Scatterboo. I'm not a fan of Cam Scatterboo at all. Not at all. Tyrone Tracy. They're going to try to make Russ beat them. They're going to try to stop the run and say, Russell, if you still have it in you, show us. That's what they're going to do. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of anybody on this team except for Malik Neighbors. And I told you before, he's a must start. He's a must start. Okay? Told you before, he's a must start. Right there. Told you before, he's a must start. He's right there. He's a must start. On the other side, you play Jane Daniels. Like you saw my must start. He's even though he's last, he's not last. I don't put him last, but I just put him in there because he's a must start. This is going to be a tough game. The Giants' defense is no joke. This is going to be a tough division game. Scary Terry just came back. How effective he's going to be is a big question. How effective is he going to be? Are they going to lean on Scary Terry or are they going to lean on Debo? Terry's a flex, in my opinion. In my opinion, he's a flex. Because I don't think he's in football quite football shape yet. It's not been long enough. He hasn't been doing too much. I don't think he's in football shape. Scary Terry's a flex for me. Okay? Then we go to Carolina at Jacksonville. Bryce Young showing promise. This is not a really stout Jacksonville defense. I like Bryce Young as a quarterback 2 in a 2-quarterback league. I definitely like Chuba Hubbard. Definitely, if I could have put Chuba Hubbard in my start. I could have put him in there. Yeah, you don't want to believe that, but okay. I could have put him in there. I let Tedora. I'll put it this way: Ted McMillan, Adam Thielen's gone. Jalen Coger is gone. He's on the IR. They got one wide receiver, and they got Hunter Renfrow, and they got Xavier Legette. Okay. They're going to want to run the football, play action, and get the ball to Tedoro. If I could pronounce the name. You know what I'm talking about. On the other side, I like Trevor Lawrence against this defense. He's playing at home. Jacksonville's playing at home. Yes. And I'll say it again. Yes, play Trevor Lawrence in this game. He's got Liam Cohn. Look what Liam Cohn did with Baker Mayfield. You think they can't do that with Trevor Lawrence? Brian Thomas Jr., you saw I had in that list. He's a must start. Travis Hunter, I think it's going to take him a few games in order to get acclimated. I know he was the number one pick. Jacksonville traded up to get him. They're going to want to get him acclimated quickly. Okay. How quickly is that going to be? And you think Carolina's just going to let that happen? Carolina was weak against the run. Very weak against the run. Not the pass. Okay. And then another tight end. This is Liam Cohen's offense. This is Liam Cohen's offense. Brenton Strange. Who? The tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Brenton Strange, people. Believe it or not. That's fine. Don't want to believe it? No problem. I'm not perfect, but I'm giving you my opinion. All right, let's move down to my Cleveland Browns hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, who always give the Bengals fits. Always. Okay? One of the reasons that the Cincinnati Bengals played their starters in the preseason, which they haven't done it in a few years, was to get some playing time for them and get them in some type of rhythm for the regular season. So I expect Joe Burrow and company, meaning Chase, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown. I'm not a fan of Chase Brown, but okay. To hit the ground running, to prevent having a slow start in the beginning of the season. But they're going up against Myles Garrett and company in the defense. Division rivals. You think Cleveland doesn't, and they're playing in Cleveland. You think Cleveland doesn't want to bump their interstate rival off? Come on, people. Really? Really? I can tell you this. I just named all the ones in Cincinnati to play. And you know that already. I don't have to tell you that. In Cleveland, you have a flex position. Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson. Okay, no problem. You know, I'm a homer. If that's what you think, no problem. Sleeper here is Cedric Tillman. Big wide receiver. You got Joe Flacco, who likes to stretch the field and throw to a big wide receiver. Don't be surprised. You can't be surprised with David Njoku. That was a favorite target to Joe Flacco. Really? Yeah. That's another tight end. I don't know what to tell you. That's another tight end. That's another tight end. All right? And let's move down to, and this is the first 4 o'clock game. Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. Cam Ward, you're in for it. You're in for it. Ooh, you are in for it. I tell you right now, Tennessee's going to want to try to run the football. We're going to try to run the football and take limited shots against a very, very good Denver defense. Temper your expectations and get Calvin Ridley. Tyler Lockett. Patrick Surtain. You ever heard of him? Patrick Surtain II? Hello, Calvin Ridley. Let me introduce you to Patrick Surtain. Temper your expectations for Calvin Ridley. Okay? You probably have to play him because you drafted him in a spot that you expect to play him. And okay, but to me, don't expect a lot. You got a rookie quarterback going against a very good defense with a high caliber cornerback in Patrick Surtain. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. On the other side, Tennessee Last season, lousy pass defense, and you got Bo Nix with Cortland Sutton, Evan Ingram. Come on, man. They named J.K. Dobbins the starting running back. I'm telling you, R.J. Harvey is the future. J.K. Dobbins is a accident waiting to happen. Accident waiting to happen. R.J. Harvey is the future. You got R.J. Harvey, you play him. Okay. I know you've been disappointed if you had Omarion Hampton thinking that rookie was going to do something, but he went up against a very good defense in Kansas City. Okay. No room to run. That's not the case here. Okay. Let's move on to San Francisco at the 49ers. Now, I did say they're playing in Seattle. 49ers have the easiest strength of schedule in the whole NFL. Not this game. This is against the Seattle Seahawks defense, playing at home opener, a division rival. They give these 49ers fits. How healthy is CMC? Is he going to last the whole game? If he's at play, then you got to play him. Plain and simple, and then cross your fingers. Cross everything. Your eyes, your legs, whatever you want to. You got to cross your fingers with Chris McCaffrey. That's just the way it is. Okay? I don't think he lasts the whole season. I mean, I hope he does. For whoever has him, I have him in a few leagues. I hope he does. But he's already hurt. That's a problem. He's already hurt. All it takes is one bad turn, and he's out. And then it's the Brian Robinson Jr. and Isaiah Guerrero show. I'm just saying. He's already hurt. What can I tell you? And you'll find out in later on today. Unfortunately, somebody who has Chris McCaffrey and is in a dilemma whether to change him out, it's a 4:00 game. So you don't get your injury report for 4:00 games until about 2:30, 3:00, somewhere around there. And if you got other players that are in 1:00 games that you can switch out, you're stuck. So you got to cross your fingers and hope that he's in pregame warm-up, he's fine. He's ready to go. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, you'll be a big fat zero come 4:00 with him being out, and you stuck when nobody put in his place. But you got to play him. If he's supposedly he's ready to play, you got to play him. Okay? Because he's besides Kittle, they got Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, and Russell Gage in the wide receivers. I gotta wait and see about those three wide receivers. I think this is a Chris McCaffrey and George Kittle show. That's what I think. Chris McCaffrey and George Kittle. Brock Purdy, you got to play him. Okay. On the other side, Sam Darnold playing at home. Will the real Sam Darnold please stand up? I don't know. I wouldn't play Sam Darnold in this. No way. Not against a division rival. First game with a new team. To me, it's Kenneth Walker. They want to run the football. Kubiak is the offensive coordinator. They want to run the football. Look what he did when he was with New Orleans with Alvin Kamara. They want to run the football. They want to run the football first and take shots after that. You got Cooper Kupp. Over the hill, Cooper Kupp. Get Jackson Smith and Jigma. San Francisco defense ain't what it used to be. That I'm telling you, it's not what it used to be. Sam Darnold just has to be capable. He don't have to be special. He just has to be capable to get the ball to the catchers. And I know I like this tight end. I know I'm on tight ends, whatever. I like this tight. I drafted him in one league. Elijah Arroyo. I like him. I like him. Okay. Just remember that name. Let's go to. I got all these games to go to. Okay, let's go to the next game, Detroit and another division rival, Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. Jared Goff is tied with the Chicago Bears, and the Lions are tied with the Chicago Bears as the second toughest schedule outside of the Giants in the NFL. Going up against the division rival at home. Green Bay Packers are with Jordan Love at the helm. I think a 1-5 or something like that. They're gonna throw the football. They're gonna be able to run the football like they normally do, like they did with the two-headed monster and Gibbs and Montgomery. I like Gibbs. I already showed you in my must start. And David Montgomery, Amari St. Brown. I already showed you. But the big tout here is Jameson Williams. Okay. Not so much Sam Laporta this game. I think it's Jameson Williams. And does Micah play? I don't think Micah's playing this game. I think they're going to sit him out. Try to get his back straight. That's going to hurt their pass rush. That's going to get Jared Goff more time to get the ball down the field. Maybe the Jameson Williams. Okay? On the other side, you got Jordan Love. I love Jordan Love, people. They're playing at home. Home opener, Green Bay. Oh, baby. This is one hell of a game you're going to want to watch. I think Jordan Love takes a step up in this game. You play Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden. Green Bay did not draft a wide receiver in the first round just to be an afterthought. And he has been showing up and showing out in training camp and in preseason. They're going to display their nice, shiny new toy in Matthew Golden. Romeo Dobbs is the go-to guy when they need it the most, along with Tucker Kraft. Okay? Tight end. All right, let's move on to the Houston Texans at the LA Rams. Now, they're playing home. The Rams are. CJ Stroud, they've shored up their offensive line. Hopefully, they have someone that will benefit them to run the football. To run the football. But who's going to run the football? Nick Chubb? I love Nick Chubb. I have a picture of Nick Chubb sitting on my wall right now. A signed jersey, framed, of Nick Chubb. Okay? But when I got this, he was Nick Chubb. He's not that anymore. Not that anymore. Okay? Oh, you got Damian Pierce. Really? Oh, you got Woody Marks. You know, let me tell you something. I like Woody Marks more than I like Damian Pierce or Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, two ACLs. Damian Pierce is the plotter. Woody Marks is more of a pass-catching running back, but I like Woody Marks better than I like the other two. Okay? You know who I like here. You know who it is. Nico Collins. Don't be surprised. The two rookie wide receivers, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, will play a nice role in this. Okay? Let's move over to Matthew Stafford. He's playing at home, dealing with a back issue, dealing with against a very good defense. This is the head coach is a defensive-minded coach, so he knows his pride and joy is having a good defense. The rush is coming. Can Matthew Stafford last this game? Much less the rest of the season. Can he last this game? I would play Matthew Stafford in a 2-quarterback league. And in fact, I'm doing that. Not a fan of Kyron Williams. Not against his defense. I like Devontae Adams. Seasoned veteran. You saw I got Puka there already at the must start. Okay. Let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. The two quarterbacks, I'm not even going to mention them. I just mentioned them right now, but I'm not going to go any further than that. They're must starts. You know that. We're going to go past that. Running back for the Ravens, he's a must start. Tell you the truth, he's an anomaly. I've been wrong about Derrick Henry for the last few years. And watch. This year is when he gets hurt or whatever. But I've been wrong about Derrick Henry over the last couple of years. Okay? You play Derrick Henry. I got him in the must start. Okay? You know that. I can't. And this is always a dilemma. How can you play the wide receivers? You don't know what wide receiver is going to get the most. You don't know what they're going to do. The most reliable one in the passing game is their tight end. I'm talking about tight ends again. It's tight end, Mark Andrews. He's a must start. I was remiss in putting him in the must start, but he's a must start. They go back a ways, Lamar and Andrews. They go back. When all else fails, look for Mark. That's what Lamar says. When all else fails, look for Mark. And then we go over to the Buffalo Bills. They're playing in Buffalo. Home opener. James Cook against this Baltimore defense. If you got to start him, God bless you. I'm not a big James Cook fan, and I don't think he's going to do anything in this game. I'm telling you. I told you before, they got the easiest schedule, or one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. They got one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. It's right there. Buffalo. 10th easiest schedule in the NFL. Okay? Not this game, but in future, you can play James Cook, and not this game. This is a stout defense, and this is a revenge game for Baltimore. They're going to want to try to bring the house against anybody and anybody who has the football. Keon Coleman may surprise you. He may take that second-year leap. In fact, I'm thinking he will. I'm thinking Keon Coleman is going to take that second-year leap in this game, along with the tight end, Dalton Kincaid. Not Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. Okay? Let's move on to the last game of this that we have here is Minnesota at the Chicago Bears. I like this offense. I've always liked this. Is another division rival. They're playing in Chicago. This is the first start basically for the rookie, even though he's a second-year player in J.J. McCarthy. I like J.J. McCarthy in this offense. Two quarterbacks prior to J.J. McCarthy have played well in this Minnesota offense. Two, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold. And the only reason Sam Darnold played well in this offense is because J.J. McCarthy had a season-ending injury. Otherwise, J.J. McCarthy had beat out Sam Darnold. Remember that. J.J. McCarthy had beat out Sam Darnold to be the starting quarterback. And he got hurt. Now he's in that offense, and he was an astute student last season studying that offense while he was rehabbing. I like J.J. McCarthy in this. I know Chicago has a decent defense. I know that. I understand that. But I love this offense in Minnesota. I think this head coach / offensive coordinator is going to get his quarterback in the best situation to get the best results out of him. That's just how he does. He's done it with 2 other quarterbacks. What's to stop him from doing what J.J. McCarthy was number 10 pick of last season draft? I'm just saying. Okay. You like Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones? I like Aaron Jones. Okay. San Francisco got rid of Jordan Mason or wouldn't sign him for a reason. Now he went to Minnesota. Okay. Everyone's touting Jordan Mason. Now, I could be wrong. Not the first or last time, but I'm an Aaron Jones fan. I'm an Aaron Jones fan. Okay? I'm not going to mention all the other players on here other than T.J. Hockenson. You know, young quarterback, wants to get the ball out quick against the pass rush of the Chicago Bears. T.J. Hockenson. Okay. T.J. Hockenson. On the other side, not a big fan of Kalen. And Minnesota have a pretty decent defense. Have a pretty decent defense. And they're going to pressure Caleb Williams. What's he going to do? Rome Odunze. I like Rome Odunze. I like DJ Moore. And he has this pick of, and that's the bad thing here. He has this pick of tight ends, Cole Kmet or Colson Loveland. Okay. Who's going to get the lion's share? Who's going to be the best one in fantasy? It's a toss-up. I can't give you either one of them. I know they want to probably feature Colston because he's the new shiny toy. But they got two capable tight ends. Kmet was there last year. Colston is the new one this year. I don't like DeAndre Swift. Don't like DeAndre Swift. Never liked him, never will like him. I know. Ben Johnson had him when he was with Detroit. Then he left Detroit. Okay. And he eventually wound up in Chicago along with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson knows what he's about. Is that a committee? Is that a committee? All right, people. That's it for me. Hopefully you got some information out there that can help you. I'm going to be back 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And pay attention to the injury reports. The next one's coming out 11:30 for the 1 o'clock games. And for the 4 o'clock games, around 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there, for the 4 o'clock games. Hopefully you have your lineup set. You're all ready to go. You're watching 1 or 2 shows, either on the NFL Network or on ESPN. Or me. That's fine. Or the other show. No problem. I got no problem. I like doing this. I really like doing this. I want to help you get one of these. One of these right there. For no reason. That's me. Enjoy the rest of the day. How about that football coming? How about that? Y'all take it easy. I'll see you 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time a week from today on Sunday morning. See ya.